This is a video record of our trip to Paris from July 30th to August 4th, 2014. This is part 1, where we get into Paris and later take a short walking tour of the city. The next day, we see Disneyland Paris, which is about 20 miles east of Paris. This part starts on the morning of July 30th. We are at the Rome airport, having just finished a 2-week guided tour of Italy. I had wanted to fly directly to Paris, but all those flights were full, so we had to fly first to London with a short layover. The layover in London was less than 1 hour, so we only had time to visit one store in the airport, Harrods. We boarded our 2-hour flight from London to Paris and arrived there at about 5:30 in the afternoon. I had pre-arranged to be met at the airport by a driver with a limo to take us to our hotel in Paris. Robin's first pictures of Paris were shot from the limo, like this one as we drove past the Arc de Triomphe. Our hotel was located on this little street in the southern part of Paris called Montparnasse. The hotel is the black building on the right. The hotel had been recommended to us by a friend who was born and raised in Paris. As it turns out, we were soon sorry that we had taken his advice. The hotel was far from most of the sights of Paris, and the hotel was also several blocks from the nearest subway stop, which was less than convenient. Our room was nice and clean, but not much more. After a long day of air travel, we decided to rest up before we went out to get our first impressions of Paris. At around 8 o'clock that evening, we walked to the subway and rode to the Concorde station, the stop for the Place de la Concorde. We arrived about 8:30. Luckily, at this latitude, the sun doesn't set until about 10 o'clock, so we have plenty of time to see some sights. The Place de la Concorde is a lovely plaza approximately at the center of Paris. It is famous for its odalisque, flanked by 2 fountains. At one end of the Place de la Concorde we saw a snack stand that made crepes. We had not had dinner, so we decided to eat there. We each ordered a ham and cheese crepe. We were so hungry that they tasted like they cost $1 million. Next is me talking on the video. Obviously now we are in Paris, and this is the Louvre. It's about 9 o'clock. And this is really the first sight that we have seen. We rode on the subway and got off at the Place de la Concorde. This is an arc that's right outside or right in front of the Louvre, and here is the glass pyramid, which we're going to next. Tell me how you feel and what's going on.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. This has been unbelievable. We got here, I would say, out walking around about an hour ago, hour and a half. And you just have been looking around at everything on the Champs-Élysées, and it's just unbelievable. We were looking at the Eiffel Tower, and we're now walking over here, and I can't believe this is like a dream come true for me, and it's so exciting, and I can't even imagine that I'm in Paris. It's like an out-of-body experience for me, and this reminds me of Clark so much with the Da Vinci Code, and there it is, right here. I'm so excited, and thank you so much, Norm. Every day I've said thank you, and today I'm saying thank you.
So we walked from the Louvre to the Place de la Concorde. The timing couldn't have been better because everything was starting to get lit up. By the way, the Place de la Concorde was where they set up the guillotine during the French Revolution. Of course, that was long before what you see now. Next, walk to the far end of the Place de la Concorde and across a bridge called Pont de la Concorde, where I shot this and the next 3 video clips. After that, we retraced our steps and caught a glimpse of the Champs-Élysées just on the other side of the Place de la Concorde. At this point, we were struck by the number of airplane contrails in the sky. There are at least 6 visible in this picture, but we saw many more. Finally, here are 2 pictures Robin shot at the Place de la Concorde after it got dark. The next day was July 31st, 2014, Robin's 60th birthday. We had planned to arrive in Paris the day before, so we would have a full day at Disneyland Paris. We woke up bright and early and very excited to finally be able to see this version of Disneyland. We had a quick breakfast in the hotel buffet to save time. We started by taking the subway to the Paris train station, where we boarded a train that made a stop at the Disney park. We got off at the stop called Marne-la-Vallée. After a short walk, we arrived at the entrance to Disneyland Paris. This is the Disney Paris Hotel, which is located at the entrance to the park. Notice the round Mickey Mouse clock on the front of the hotel. This is your birthday.
This is it. I'm 60.
And we're now in Disneyland Paris. We just walked in.
When you walk in.
Now you will see video clips I shot walking down Main Street.
It almost looks floaty, doesn't it? The sky? It almost looks like a backdrop.
Bij de besluiten is het 15 minuten.
These are just fake.
And there's the entrance. I shot this from the second floor inside the castle. This again is from the second floor of the castle and shows the beginning of Fantasyland. This sign announces the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs ride. This Middle Eastern woman must have been roasting in the outfit she wore on this hot day. This was the Mr. Toad restaurant. They did not have a Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And this is my favorite ride, but time prevents us from going on it. Aww. Next time. Okay, here's where we had lunch, Italian style. Wind up the other part of the trip. After lunch, we walked to Discoveryland, which is their version of Tomorrowland, which, among other things, included Space Mountain. Just like most other lines in the park, the line for Space Mountain was relatively short. The ride was much more violent than the one we have here, so it was more painful than scary. The other attractions in Discoveryland included Autopia, a replica of the Nautilus, and Buzz Lightyear. After Discoveryland, we walked past Sleeping Beauty Castle on our way to Frontierland. Ooh. So this is their version of the stern wheeler. It's a side wheeler. Next you will see clips of our ride on the Molly Brown, but there was a problem with the boarding process, as you will hear me explain on the video. We're underway on the side wheeler, but a little story about them letting the wrong group on, having all of them go on the ship, and then realizing it, and then taking all of them off, and then putting us on. It was total incompetence.
Maintenant, ce sont des piliers de la société. Et ils sont également connus en Europe. N'est-ce pas, Molly?
We think that they've stopped running the trains for something, we don't know what. So Oh, this is the Haunted Mansion. It's called Phantom Manor. Here's the doorway to the entrance.
Rien à craindre, chers amis. Allez, entrez. J'ai tellement de choses à vous faire découvrir.
So obviously we are now in Adventureland. Here's a tree house up here. We're not going to go up there, but it's there. By the end of the day, we were getting hungry, so we scouted around for a restaurant. Because it was Robin's birthday, we wanted to eat at a really nice restaurant, so we decided to splurge at the Silver Spur Steakhouse in Frontierland. This is where we're having dinner on Robin's birthday. It's like 7 o'clock, so we've been going for the last 8 hours. Nice place. Gonna have a steak. When our steaks arrived, they looked like they were worth twice the $40 each we paid for them. But after only being able to eat a couple of bites of what was almost pure gristle, we both agreed that this was the worst dinner we had ever had in our lives. We were so unhappy and complained so vehemently that the manager grudgingly comped our meals and we left. By now it was about 8:30 and starting to get dark. We still had a long train and subway ride left, so I was only able to give Robin about a half an hour to shop at their main store outside the main gates. As we started for the train station, we saw the entrance to the other Disney theme park, Walt Disney Studios, which had, among other things, the Tower of Terror ride. We were both sad that we did not have the time for a return trip the next day to see this other park. We arrived back at our hotel at around 11 o'clock, exhausted but still remembering our time at Disneyland Paris.